Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am so excited. This video is gonna be a long one. It's been a while since I've done a long video, since I've spoken to you on camera instead of doing a voiceover. It's been a while. I am so excited to do this one because when I saw that on TikTok and social media, there is this side of the beauty community, of the makeup community, that's really missing the era of makeup. 2016, 2017, that's really the time when makeup blew up on YouTube and on social media, on Instagram. This was the overall vibe when it came to makeup, and it was everywhere. And that's when I also joined in YouTube, when I started doing makeup content and reviews on my channel. So we're gonna be doing something very unique. I'm gonna be doing this look that I have on right now. This is a look that I took from a video that I posted in 2018, and it was, back then I was recreating my wedding makeup. So this is a version of my own wedding makeup that I did back then, but I felt that that look is very 2017. It is very of that time. So I want to take you back and walk you through this routine. Let's go back in time to 2017, 2018 makeup, where it was glitter. It was the vampy red lips, burgundy lips, the glitter, the cut creases, all of those things, the baking, the Coty Airspun, all of those things were very iconic in 2016, 2017. So we're gonna be reacting to this video of me 5 years ago recreating my wedding makeup, because it was very 2017 makeup. So I'm gonna be watching myself back then. Very nervous about that, but very excited. So it's a combination of all of that. This is me reacting to myself 5 years ago. This is me walking through and remembering what the makeup routine used to be in 2017. And it's just playing around with makeup to remember what it was back then. The full coverage, the matte lips, all of that. So if you're excited for that, if you're excited to see how I created this look, then please keep on watching. All right, so let's get started. I am so excited for this. Okay, let's see. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I am so excited about this one, and I know that I say this all about a lot of my videos, but this one in particular, I am super excited to be sharing with you, because I'm gonna be showing you how I did my makeup on my wedding day. So I got married back in November 2017 to my best friend, and I'm super happy. And I don't know, I've had the idea about this video for such a long time now, and I'm so glad that I'm finally getting around to making it and sharing it with you. I love doing my makeup, and I love just feeling I look so different here. I can't. My hair is so long. I have like twice the amount of hair that I have now. It's okay, girl. Life happened to you. I loved just how I felt. I felt comfortable, I felt pretty, I felt done up. I wasn't going for something very natural looking, something that was super simplistic. I look so pretty. What happened to her? That's not who I am. I love doing my makeup, and I love just feeling confident in it. So that's why I chose something that was maybe a little bit more glam than your usual bride looks, and that's why I went with something like this. And in this video, I'm gonna be showing you both of the looks that I did. I did 2 looks for my wedding. I did one, yes, so I did a day look and a night look. Both of them are pretty full coverage, all out, you'll see. But yeah, I did something that was gonna be really easy to transition to the nighttime. Okay, so we're just gonna skip forward so we can get to the actual makeup tutorial of this. So I followed that, and then in the morning I splashed my face with water like I usually do, and then I followed with a moisturizer. And I don't remember. Okay, so she's doing moisturizer, so we're gonna do moisturizer too. I'm noticing that I'm gonna repeat myself a lot through this, so bear with me. I mean, it was long overdue for me to do a long video. I've been doing a lot of like 10-minute videos on average, like 10 to 12-minute videos for a little bit, so it was about time I do something longer. All right, as much as I love how my hair looks and I didn't want to pin it back, I am gonna. Moisturizer is nice and sunken into your skin. I followed in with some Fix Plus. Okay, so I did some setting spray, so we're gonna do that. And this is the e.l.f. Stay All Night Microfine Setting Mist, which I love. It was to make sure that I gave my skin another layer of hydration and to make sure that my makeup would stay put all night long, because of course it's gonna be a long day, it's gonna be a long ceremony, reception, and you want to make sure that your makeup stays put. And it did, by the way. The combination of the setting spray and the foundation that I used, powder, all of that, my makeup was in place the entire night. Okay, so I'm using a silicone-based primer. I'm gonna use the one that I've been loving. I'm gonna use my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This is a silicone-based as well, so we're gonna do that. Of course, I use this where my pores are more prominent to smooth them out. It's done. I went in with a layer of color correcting, and I took my LA Girl Pro Conceal High Definition Concealer in the shade Yellow, and this is just... I haven't done this in a long time. I haven't color corrected. I feel like it was a thing back then and people were doing it a lot, but then we've kind of like phased out. Today it's more of like the effortless, glowy, natural look. I'm kind of excited to try this out again. Okay, so I just went through my stuff. I found one of the yellow correctors. It's the exact same one, so we're gonna do that. Let's see how I used it. My eyes, because my dark circles are a tone of purple, so the opposite of that, and they're gonna get worse, is yellow. I'm gonna go in with this one today, and again, this is just going to cancel out my dark circles and make my skin tone even. On my skin, okay. Sounds good. On my skin today, it was really important for me to do this because it had been a long year, restless nights, and it's gonna get worse. Just nights of getting little to no sleep, the stress and everything else. So I really wanted to make sure that my dark circles were covered. I used a lot. So if I used a lot back then, I'm gonna use that amount now. It's so funny that I'm talking about my dark circles and they just got worse. Like, you don't even, that girl didn't even know it was gonna hit her in the next 5 years. So so once it's laid out like that, you just blend it in just like you would your regular concealer and really take your time with it. Look up and make sure that it's nice and blended into your skin, and you're gonna notice right away how it's gonna even out your skin tone, and it'll allow you to start out with a nice clean base. That is the color corrector all blended out, and I do see the difference that it did back then. I feel like I'm gonna start doing this again. It really did cancel out the darkness. Let's see what the next step is. Okay, this is the foundation that I used. That foundation was everywhere back then. I used it. It's full coverage. It's really good. It is gonna stay put. It says stay in place makeup. It stuck with me the entire night, sweating, dancing, crying, everything. It's a really good foundation. It worked perfect for me. This little bottle, and I've heard wonderful things about this foundation. I actually bought it just for my wedding because I heard from Patrick Starr that it was such a full coverage, nice foundation. It was a nice matte formula. It was actually a Patrick Starr makeup tutorial that I followed for this look and was inspired by that, so shout out. And I knew that a Patrick Starr makeup routine was gonna stay put. His products, now that he has his brand, are very much tailored to making your makeup stay for a long time, so I knew that he was someone that I wanted to refer to. Matte formula that would stay put. He called it like cement, that it would like stay in place all night long, which is of course what I wanted. Oh, and by the way, I put the foundation here, and from what I've noticed is that now this is too light for me. It's a little bit too light, the color that I have, so I'm gonna mix it a little bit with the foundation that I use in every video. It's a L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour fresh wear, so I'm just gonna mix the two in a little palette. That way it's a little bit closer to my skin tone. I've already watched this video back and I do look a little bit ghostly, so we want to avoid that. I'm just gonna dot it on my skin, and I do wish like with everyone else that this foundation had a pump, because sometimes it's kind of like deceiving because you feel like you're not adding enough, and this amount will be enough for your entire face. So I'm gonna go in, and then with my foundation brush I am just gonna spread it all over my face. Make sure the brush is totally unnecessary, but I'm gonna do it. We're just gonna do it for the sake of following the routine. So we're just spreading it out like we're saying. Once the foundation is nice and put in place, I'm gonna go in with my sponge and blend everything out. So we're gonna do that too. And you do want to work fast with this foundation because it does dry out kind of quick. So make sure to lay it out and work fast. All right, so I'm nice and blended out. The foundation is set. Let's move on to the next step. After that, this would be a good time to jump in with our eyeshadow primer. And I am using my Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion, the anti-aging one. That picture, oh my God. Okay, so I'm using an eyeshadow primer, so let's see which one I have on hand. All right, so I actually found the exact same one that I used there. It's obviously 5 years old. I'm not gonna use it, but I am gonna use this one from my collection. It's called the Primero primer from Alamar Cosmetics, which I love this brand. So I'm just gonna take a little bit and prime the eyelids. Be a good time because number one, we're laying out our creams first before we powder, and number two, this is gonna leave a good amount of time for it to settle into the eyelids and to set before going in with eyeshadow powders. So for my concealer, I used the YSL Touche Éclat concealer along with just the tiniest bit of Tarte. So this one's very dewy, and the Tarte Shape Tape is very full coverage, but it can be very drying for my under eye, so that's why I did a mixture of both. And I just apply it like, oh, she used YSL for her one. I don't know. Okay, so I don't have that concealer anymore, so I'm just gonna use my same one combined with the Tarte Shape Tape, and I am doing big triangles. Just apply it like I usually do underneath my eyes. Nowadays I just do dots, but I am doing big triangles, so let's do that. I'm gonna use less of this one because this is the darker one, but it is dewier than Tarte, so I think that's going to be the best blend of the two. A little bit down the nose. Down the nose. On my forehead. A little bit on my chin. And just blend it out. And this is really going to brighten the center of your face and really make this part the focus. And as soon as your concealer is laid out nice and creaseless, we're gonna follow up straight away with our powder. Oh, hold on. Let's go ahead and blend that out. All right, so the concealer is done. Now I'm moving on to powder, and I went with Airspun for my wedding. So when I say I caked the makeup on, I caked it. And Airspun was very much the way to go back then, and you're gonna love the way that I applied it. I'm using my Ride or Die, my Coty Airspun for that, and just really make sure that that is set in place. Just grab the powder with your sponge and then just lay it underneath your eyes, a little bit on your lids. on the
bit.
other side. And as you can see, I'm not baking. I'm just setting the powder on my skin and really pressing it into my skin. I do have very oily skin, so if you have dry skin, don't do this and don't use too much powder, because of course you don't want your skin to... Okay, let's start caking it on like she is. So she's not baking. She's just placing it under the eyes. So let's do that too. Really press it to the skin, I said. To look dry on your pictures. You don't want that. But for me, I do have very oily skin, so I want to make sure that my skin will look nice and mattified throughout the day, that it will look kind of glowy, but a natural glow, that it's not gonna look an oily mess. So that's why I'm really going heavy duty with the powder, because my skin can take it. The nose is definitely the place where my skin gets the oiliest. That's usually the part where it just breaks throughout the day and it just becomes super oily. So that's why I am focusing, additionally putting some extra powder on my nose, my smile lines right here, and just whatever's left over on the smile lines. And that's where now my, like, this is gonna crack. Like as soon as I'm done, or by the time that I'm done with this makeup, it's gonna start to crack. That's why I don't do this anymore, and that's why I use way less powder now. Once we go in with bronzer and blush and everything else, it's all gonna come together, I promise. Okay, so she promises it's gonna come together, so don't worry about the ghost face. So it's gonna come together. All right, so the powder is there. I look very ghostly. Very ghostly. Foundation, concealer, and powder is nice and set. We can go in with our bronzers, and again, I know I'm looking a little bit ghostly right now, but it's all gonna come together, I promise. So for our bronzer, I'm gonna be going in with my trusty butter bronzer. It's just okay. So I'm gonna grab my Fenty bronzer, and all I did was of course do my regular bronzing, bronze the areas where I would usually bronze, right here on the sides of my cheeks, and go up my temples and a little bit under my chin as well. I am gonna go in a little bit heavier on bronzer because again, I want to counteract how light my foundation is. Now for this video's purpose, I am gonna go in with a little bit of a nose contour. Now for... Oh, she's gonna nose contour, fun. All right, so let's bronze up the face, bring some color back. I would still do this kind of makeup today, to be honest. I feel like this bronzer is looking a little bit orange compared to like the color of my shirt. It's looking a little bit warm. So I'm gonna use these shades over here to kind of like cool it down and add some dimension too. Okay, so I think that's as much as I want to do with bronzer. We're gonna go in with nose contour right now. So let's do that too. I'm just taking my same Fenty bronzer and just really shading the sides of the nose. And while this sets, we're gonna move on to highlighter. This is gonna be the next step. So we can move on to that while this is doing its thing. So just use a light hand with your highlighter and you will be fine. Now for this one, the one highlighter that I knew was going to be the right one was the all-time classic, my Mary-Lou Manizer by theBalm. It's this one right here, and this one was my very first highlighter. I think I bought it in like 2015, and it's just a wonderful highlighter. It's super bright. I still have it. Use it. It's used and abused, as you can see. And I'm gonna use that one, and I'm mainly going to... I still have that highlighter. I don't know if I would use it for a wedding look anymore. It's super bright and it's very glittery. I love it. So I am using a denser brush too. So even though I'm telling you not to overdo highlighter, I am overdoing highlighter. So let's use that dense brush that I'm using there. Focus it on this area up here instead of dragging it too close to my cheeks, because I don't want, when I smile in pictures, I don't want this cheeky area right here to appear too glowy. So I am going to focus it up here, just a little bit.
Just a little.
On my brow bone.
And on my brow.
As natural as possible. And that's literally all I'm gonna do for highlighter. And a little bit on the nose and on my Cupid's bow. And the next step, of course, and one of the most important, is blush. I'm gonna use the Milani powder blush in the shade
I have that
Rose.
blush,
It's
so
the
we're
one
gonna
with
do that. I haven't used it that much, just to keep the rose stamp.
Tea Rose. It's the one with the beautiful rose engraved in there. And I'm gonna use just my regular blush brush and use it on the apples of my cheeks. And I mainly want to focus it in the apples of my cheeks. I'm not gonna drag it too far to the side.
That is so different from today. Like, I'm saying only use it on the apples of your cheeks and not to drag it up. Today, I go on top of the nose, I go up to here with blush. So it's very cool to see how makeup trends change.
Basically what you just saw was all of my powders coming in together. I powdered my face, powdered bronzer, powdered blush, highlighter. So what I'm gonna do now is just do a nice spritz of Fix Plus to mesh everything together, to make sure that everything just melts in your skin so that it looks not as powdered anymore, so that it looks like skin.
Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of setting spray. I'm glad I'm doing this because it does feel very, very powdered. So I'm gonna brush this off first. Okay, and then we're gonna spritz some setting spray. I'm gonna do a lot, that way it really makes the makeup a little bit more dewy.
And once you do that, you fan out your skin. And take your sponge and really make sure to press the setting spray into your skin. Go in and fill out my brows, and I'm gonna do that with my NYX micro brow pencil in the shade Espresso. So I'm gonna do that and I will be right back.
Okay, I thought the brows were gonna be a little bit more blocky, so we're doing brows next. It kind of looks like what I do right now. They're a little bit darker, so I definitely used more, but from then till now I thought it was gonna be a really big difference, because I do have pictures from like that time when I started doing like the 2017 brows. You know, everyone was doing the dip brow, the really harsh block brows, so I thought they were gonna be a little bit worse than what I have now, but they look fine to me. So we are gonna do that, and we are gonna fill up our brows. All right, so my brows are done. I definitely did go a little bit darker than usual, but only because I know it is gonna be a heavy eyeshadow look, so I wanted to make sure it balances, it complements that.
Jump straight into eyeshadow, my favorite step. I'm so excited about it, and we're gonna go in with the best.
The palette, we have to use the palette, so I am using my Modern Renaissance palette. All right, so we're gonna be using this beauty. I do miss using it, so I'm excited to play around with it again.
Palette in the world, the ABH Modern Renaissance palette. And the very first thing that we're gonna do is jump straight into laying a nice base of color on our lids. And for that, I'm gonna use the shade Tempera right up here.
I don't really think this is a necessary step. I don't really think it's gonna do anything in this case, because I had already done the primer and the powder, and now we're doing an extra layer of eyeshadow on top of that to kind of like cancel out the veininess and those colors on the bottom of our lids. But I don't think it's gonna do much because we already did a lot for that, but let's follow the tutorial. All it's gonna do, I feel like it's just gonna make it so that the colors that we lay on top of this, they're gonna be a little bit more muted, because I'm basically putting powder on top of the stickiness of the primer, and I kind of needed that stickiness to make those vivid colors that I'm gonna use pop. So I feel like I'm losing that, but hey, you know, I do remember this was a popular step to do with eyeshadow though.
So once we have that, we're gonna go in with a fluffy brush like this one, like my BH 101 brush, my favorite of all time. And I'm gonna go in with raw sienna over here. And we're just gonna take it all over our crease. Now I am going to recreate my wedding look as closely as I remember. I don't have a clear memory of all of the steps that I took to create my look, like the exact shadows and everything else. So I am going to go in as closely as I can to replicate that look. And of course, I'm not gonna go too overboard with the eye look, because I do want to do something that's glam, but still more on the natural side. Just very soft, very feminine. So I don't want to go too heavy with the eyeshadow. No. And these eyeshadows for me were the best because I wasn't too comfortable with eyeshadows yet. So these eyeshadows were the best to work with just because they're so easy to blend out. And
that is very true. One thing about this palette is that even as I'm dipping in, they're very soft shadows. They're very powdery. So the payoff, the color payoff is a lot for these shadows, but they're really easy to blend and they were very easy to use for someone like me that was a beginner back then still, and was taking a shot at doing her own makeup for such a big day. You know, and it was really nice to have an eyeshadow palette where you didn't have to like do any tricks and cartwheels in order to make it work. It was nice just to have a really beginner friendly palette like this is. That's why she's an icon, you know? Alright, so I'm supposed to be going very natural, but I miss doing this kind of makeup, so I'm just having a lot of fun with it. So I'm just applying more and more and more and more. So that's what we're going for.
So once that is done, I am gonna go in with just a little bit of warm taupe over here. And just add it on my outer V's just to deepen out that part. So I'm just going to like stamp it right over here on my outer V's and drag it just the tiniest bit to the crease. And do the same thing on the other side. Just place the color on there. A little bit on the crease. And just blend it in circular motions like this. Now to smoke out my lower lash line.
Okay, so we're doing that step with warm taupe. And I am gonna go in with a previous brush, the fluffy one, and just blend everything out.
Tiny brush, and then use Cypress Umber right here and just use it on the outer portion of my lower lash line. Just to smoke.
Okay, so I'm gonna use this pencil brush and I'm just smoking out the outer portion of the lower lash line with Cypress Umber, which is a dark brown, and a little bit of this goes a long way. All right, I think we are done with that step, so let's see what's next.
Like so. Now I'm gonna switch over to the Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm gonna use this shade right here, and I'm gonna use it on my outer V's just because I wanted to incorporate a little bit of the colors in my wedding, which had burgundy, blush, pink, gold, and white. So I did want to add just the tiniest bit of burgundy on my eyes. So in order to start incorporating that color on my lid, I started out with that color first on my outer V's once again.
Okay, so I used this color right here, which this palette has a lot of really nice burgundies and pinks, so it was very much fitting for my color palette. So let's go in with that color, and I am placing it on the outer V's.
After that, I'm gonna go in with a flat packer brush like this, and then go in with a more burgundy color. I'm gonna go in with this one.
Okay, so next we're gonna do another burgundy color, but let's do this one first. and put it on the V's like I said, and continue to blend that color. So let's go with that other color, and I am going to use the same brush that I used there, which is more, yeah, it's this one right here, which is a smaller, very dense brush. So let's use the dark red. So I am just going to place that burgundy right here close to the lid, and I just want to make it so that you can see it, but I don't want it to go up to the crease. So I'm just going to place it right here so you can see it, but it's not like dominating all the way up.
Main color that's going to be on my lid, and that was the ABH single eyeshadow in the shade Pink Champagne. Go into the shadow and just pack it on.
I remember that eyeshadow sucked. I went to the mall and I bought that eyeshadow. It was $12 for a single shadow, and it sucked. And I tried to make it work with setting spray and everything, but I just wanted to use it because it cost me $12. So I'm not gonna use that one. I think I just, yeah, I don't have it anymore. I used to have it in this palette, but I do have a similar one. Instead, I'm gonna use this one. I'm gonna use the Sultry palette, which this palette has been my go-to for any like weddings, quinceañeras, like any event that I have coming up. I use this one. It's so pretty. So I am gonna use the rose gold that's in here. It's called Rose Quartz. So I am gonna do that for all over the lid like I'm doing with my fingers. Nothing's changed in that way. Shimmers are always gonna go in with my fingers, and I'm gonna do that all over the lid, and it's super pretty.
And then with your finger, just make sure to blend those outer crease colors to this shimmer color, just to make sure that everything is nice and blended and that there's a smooth transition.
Amen.
So getting rid of this harsh line right here.
Make sure it's nice and blended out with that outer V, and add it to the inner corners of the lower lash line.
A pencil brush, and then grab the shade Vermeer right up here and just use it on my inner corners.
So pencil brush, we're gonna use, I'm actually gonna stay in my Sultry palette, and I'm gonna use the shade Pearl, which is so pretty. And we're gonna do that one instead for our inner corners. I love a good bright inner corner.
Just to add that nice burst of light on your eyes, and then use it just the slightest bit on your brow bone as well.
Oh, the brow bone.
Just the slightest bit, like that. See how it catches the light? So that's basically our first eyeshadow look done. So what I'm gonna do now is go put on some eyeliner, put on some lashes, and I will be right back. And the lashes that I'm gonna be using are these Kiss lashes that you can find.
Hold on a second. All right, so I'm adding that to my brow bone, and then off camera, so I guess I did eyeliner off camera, and then I'm gonna do mascara and I'm gonna do lashes. So let's go ahead and do that. Good. So my lashes are done, eyeliner, mascara, all of that. So let's move on to the next step.
So Milani liquid lipstick in the shade Precious. I thought it was like the perfect pink that I wanted for this look. And then on top of that, I'm going to be using the Trust Fund Beauty Method to the Madness lip gloss. This one I got in an Ipsy Glam bag. And again, I just thought it was like the perfect combo because I'm not a fan of liquid lipsticks by themselves because they can be too drying. And I didn't want my lips to look chapped on my pictures. So that's what
I wasn't expecting for me to do a gloss back then, because the look was very much to do matte lips and liquid lipsticks were everything back then. So I'm kind of surprised that I did a gloss. So that's what this is what I would do today, honestly. So we're gonna do some gloss. I did really good. I did a really good job. I feel like that's very wedding. This is a little bit more glam. It ended up being two different completely different looks.
All right, guys, so now that the lips are done, setting spray is done, the very first look is completely done. Again, I wanted to do something that was very feminine, very glam, so that
Look at my lashes.
It would feel like done up and very glam on.
My hair is, I can't believe my hair. My hair is so pretty.
Now I'm gonna show you the 2 steps that I did in order to take this look to something a little bit darker, a little bit more dramatic for nighttime. For the reception, I wanted to do something that was very sexy. I wore a dress that was lacy, that had a deep cleavage, so I wanted something that was very sexy for my husband and the reception.
For my husband.
So the 2 steps that I did was change up this eye look to something a little with more glitter and shimmer.
So yeah, guess what I'm gonna be using?
The perfect solution, you probably already know this, is I took my Stila Magnificent,
heck yeah, we are using Stila
Metals Glitter and Glow Liquid Eyeshadow in the shade Kitten Karma. And it's pretty simple. All I did was basically take the eyeshadow and just place it all over my lid.
I'm not even gonna bother trying using this. This is pretty dried out, and I'm also like scared to use it more on my eye since it is pretty old. So what I am gonna do, because what do you know, I do have a glitter that's very similar to that in my Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals palette. She has a very pretty like pink glitter in here. I feel like I'm gonna use a combination of these two because this one's a little bit too pink for that. That one has more champagne and like gold in there than pink, so let's just do a combination of those two and add it on top of the eye. And I am gonna use a small crease brush because 2016 was all about cut creases and very precise a very precise cut crease, so we're gonna do that with the glitter. And I don't know if I did this in the video, but I am gonna take a little bit of it and use it for the inner portion of the lower lash line too. Just a little bit on there, that way it's cohesive with the top lash, with the top lid. That's pretty, I feel like that's pretty close.
And the second thing that I changed for that transition was the lipstick shade, so I took this one off.
Okay, so we're removing that pink shade and we're gonna go with something a little bit more dramatic, of course. Okay, so it's off and we're just gonna go in with our sponge to bring back a little bit of that foundation around the lips.
Once that is clean, I'm gonna go in with a dark red lip. That's my favorite thing in the world when it comes to like going out at night. I feel super confident
when I used to go out.
I feel so sexy when I wear a dark red lip. And the lipstick that I'm gonna be using for that is the Jeffree Star Cosmetics liquid lipstick in the shade Unicorn Blood. I really love this formula. It's super comfortable on the lips. It's such a beautiful pigment.
I don't have that anymore.
Opaque and it lasts such a long time,
but it was really beautiful. I do remember wearing it. Now for today's look, I'm gonna use this MAC lipstick. It was the collaboration with Selena. I haven't done a red lip in a long time. This is very exciting. I love this. I haven't worn a shade like this in a long time. I might just start again. It's so pretty.
This was the way to go. Of course, just making sure that you're super clean on the edges. You don't want messy lines on your lips. And that is the night look. 2 simple steps that takes your look from something very feminine and very girly to something very sultry. And here's a close-up of what the nighttime look looks like.
I look so pretty. Stop it. Okay, so from there, I just keep on talking about the look, telling people to subscribe and all of that stuff, but this was the final look. I'm gonna go do my hair and I'll be right back. All right, so this is the finished look. This is me recreating, taking a look back at one of my tutorials from the 2016-2017 makeup
era. This is really the era where makeup exploded on social media. Everyone was getting into it, and so did I, and that's how I ended up in the world of makeup on YouTube. And I'm still learning, I'm still trying to grow my channel, so let me know what you think. This is the final look. I really hope you like it. I feel like this is very of the time. Like the vampy lips were everything, the cut creases, the burgundy, glitter on the eyes, the stila we use, the modern renaissance, all of those makeup products that were the definition of 2016, 2017 makeup. I'm really glad that there's a little corner of the beauty community that's missing this era and that's bringing it back, because I will for sure be there if it does. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think of the look, and let me know what you think of the video. Definitely times have changed since I recorded that video. It's been 5 years. I was a newlywed. The setup has changed. I was filming in that other room on my phone, and now I'm here. I'm growing, and like I said, I'm continuing to learn and trying to push for more videos. Right now I'm really devoting the time to it, trying to make at least one video a week, and I'm gonna keep pushing. So if you did like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet. I want to thank you as always for being here and watching, and hopefully I will see you on the next one. Bye guys.